Now, it is important for me to respond. I'm responding directly to the MPP. You see, Helen, there's this tale that everybody growing up in Northern Region knows, that the bat vowed to pee on God Almighty, and so flew to the high heavens, and in its bid to pee on God, it ended up peeing on itself. That's why anytime the bat pees, the pee actually falls on it. Any young person growing up in Tamale, especially in the northern regions, this tale would not be lost on that person. That is the character of the New Patriotic Party. The New Patriotic Party is in a haste to pee on the National Democratic Congress and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's government. In their haste, they are rather peeing on themselves. Because when I read the statement, I simply could not believe the hypocrisy and the double standards.
What exactly stood out for you?
How would I respond to them? They are claiming, like my brother said, that Nanado successfully recovered, led an economic successful program that eventually led to economic recovery and enhancement of our democratic institutions. Am I right? Yeah. Before President Mahama came into office, permit me to read this to you. I think this is very important. You see, we are not saying it. This is what the IMF, if you claim that the economic fundamentals, because we argued from day one that you left us unsustainable debt levels, not only in the energy sector, road sector, cocoa port, and many other state-owned enterprises. In the energy sector alone, ECG alone, we are having to deal with in excess of 80 billion Ghana cedis. When we were leaving office in 2016, we left them not up to 10 billion. And an ESLA proceeds that generated in excess of 45 billion for them to be able to cater for the energy sector bills. What did they leave us when they were leaving office? Absolutely nothing. In addition to the ESLA that we gave them, they increased ESLA and decided to collateralize it. And in addition to that, they left us in excess of 80 billion ECG debt to manage. This is their record. Now, you are claiming in your press statement that you led an economic recovery program. Listen to what the IMF said in their last review of the NPP's performance. It says, program performance deteriorated markedly at the end of 2024. Physical slippages in the run-up to the elections led to a large accumulation of payables. Inflation exceeded program targets, and several reforms were delayed. This is your record. We are not saying it. It is the IMF. These are your records. Now, but listen to what they said about the government, and led by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Since the beginning of the year, the new authorities have taken bold measures to address policy and reform slippages and ensure achievement of program objectives. This includes enacting a strong budget and public financial management reforms, tightening monetary policy, and adjusting electricity prices. Proactive, responsible leadership. These are the records. We didn't say it. It is said by the IMF. So when they speak, I feel sorry for them, because it is like the lessons Ghanaians wanted them to learn from this humiliating defeat they suffered in the last election is still being lost on them. So it's like being caught in a hole. They have dug themselves into a hole in the last 8 years, and instead of them to be finding innovative ways of coming out, they rather continue to dig themselves further. That is the state of the MPP we find ourselves. Finally,
yes.
They also made reference to the fact that the NDC in opposition claimed that external factors do not have an effect on our economic performance. Another unpardonable lie. And you see, these kinds of deception or lies is the reason why they are where they are. And I will demonstrate to you why that is a lie. We've always been consistent.
In just a minute, then I'll go to
yes, you see, if you followed our communication clearly, we indicated that even before COVID, the economy had shown serious signs of distress. And we made references to the debt to GDP level of about 63%, because we left it at rebase figures at 55.6%. In about 2020, they had moved it to about 63%. Remember, it was about 61% when Ghana was declared HIPIC under President Kufuor. So what that meant was that even under Nana Addo, by 63%, we had exceeded what led us to HIPIC in the first place. This was the record. You had balloon public debts before HIPIC from about 120 billion that President Mahama left it to about 256 billion. These were the records to a point that we argued that it was because of that kind of recklessness that made the country so vulnerable. So you should not be blaming our current state on what? COVID. And I will demonstrate to you. It was not the NDC that said it. Again, it was said by the World Bank country director.
And just in 30 seconds, because we also want to look at how
but Helen, this is important because we are dealing with a group of fraudsters, and it is important for us to expose
them.
Hamza,
you say fraudsters?
Yes, they are.
Isn't that too scary for a Monday morning?
You see, please, I think that I'm being even charitable when it comes to this press statement that they have released. That's why I said that it's important for us to create that distinction between the MPP when we are speaking directly to them and the Ghanaian people. And I'm speaking directly to the MPP now. This is the World Bank country director then, Pierre Laporte or something like that. I hope I got the name. He says, Ghana's economy was facing challenges before COVID. World Bank country director. We did not say it. So these are the facts. So when you listen to them, and I feel sorry for them, the likes of Afenyo Makin, you were in charge of ECG as board chairman. Today, you are trying to bury your corruption, your recklessness, your inefficiency under the guise that the only problem with ECG has to do with inefficiency. You guys engage in unhealthy, unethical award of contracts to cronies who even failed to deliver.
Thank you, Hamza, for that.
My goodness, I think that the time has come for us to begin investing
Thank you for that, Hamza.
to account for his role.
Hamza, thank you for that. And I will